Okay guys, so this is part 2 of my August garden tour. Here we have the Vinca Major Alba. Alba in gardening terms means white. So when you see on your plant tags anything that says Alba, it means it's white flowering. So that's the Vinca Major Alba, and that's a begonia, which is, as you can see, so very different to the other begonias that I've shown you so far. I can't remember the name of that species, but it's as you can see, it's clearly a different species than the bigger leafed begonia. So hostas, we have cyclamen, and I didn't know that cyclamen were evergreen, but they have been here ever since I planted them last, I believe, November. They've maintained their green leaves. I've moved them a little bit, but they still look really good. And actually, they do add something to this bed here. The climbing hydrangea is also doing well. I need to come in here and clean up some more of the smaller branches in this. Clean up some of the smaller branches in this tree, giving the climbing hydrangea a little bit more space to grow up. And here, the anemone, I can't remember the variety again, but there were 3. I lost 2 of them. I don't really know why, but it started to bloom. Pretty. As we move around here, now you can see straight away what I'm talking about with the begonias. Like, that's clearly a different species. I bought these in bulbs from Lidl, so I'm not 100% sure what the variety is. But you can see from the leaves and its form that it's a totally different begonia than the white ones in that forest bed that I just showed you. And here we have, this is Bliss Parfumer, or I think it's also called Earth Angel. Really healthy rose. It's given me a good show this year. Not as vigorous as some of the others, but it's in its first year, so it can be forgiven, and it's also in a pot. But we have some buds happening here, so in the next few weeks, I'll come back and show you what those blooms are looking like in their second flush. The star jasmine at the front here is looking great. So much growth in just 1 year. Look at this. And like, once you get them started, they wind themselves around. So it's a true climber, not like some, like roses, for instance. Climbing roses are not necessarily actually climbing plants because they don't twine, creep, or hang on to anything themselves. You have to physically tie them in. But the star jasmine, as you can see, starts doing its own thing once you get it started. In the back here, there's some British honeysuckle, which is grown in mostly shade. And we have the Japanese maple. I think this is a Jordan. I'll put the name on the screen. I can never pronounce that one. We just walk around here. This bed, or I should say these containers, are just looking lovely. And it's so surprising what you can get without things being in quote unquote full sun. Because it's enough sun to grow the hydrangeas, to grow the begonias, to grow the heuchera, but also not too much sun that the hosta's burning. I mean, the hosta's not looking awesome, but that's from slug damage. But the containers on a whole are looking really great. This Japanese maple here. This is Orange Dream, I believe. And in the back, just over here in another shady spot, I have some beetroot growing. So I'm looking forward to harvesting them. This is a Cunningham White rhododendron. And then we have the Runaway Bride hydrangea. That's a Deutzia. That's the one that was, I'm so surprised it's even alive because it was just tossed to the side and then put into the ground last minute in January. And it's just done so well. We have some Jack of Diamonds. Is it the Jack of Diamonds? I think it's the Jack of Diamonds, yeah. Jack of Diamonds, Brunnera. There are 2 planted here. I bought 3, lost 1. But the leaves on this thing are just lovely. Look at that silvery white. It's just lovely, isn't it? Now there's another Japanese maple there that's growing in a pot. Again, the pots have been put into the bed because of having our guests over. So we'll rearrange these beds, or I will rearrange these beds over the next week or so, but I didn't want to push anything. And I think the garden's just looking really lovely, considering it's been so hot the last couple of days. I think because it's been cloudy, it hasn't like fried everything. The plants don't look super stressed out. Maybe as well, I do have my watering regime kind of down to an art at this point, she says. So, okay, this is another one of my hydrangeas that I'm not 100% sure what variety it is, but it's obviously a panicle hydrangea, and it's been stressed, but it's pulling through. The thing about it is, look at this. These lupins have been just absolutely decimated by the slugs. Now, I've tried not to do anything this year to prevent any wildlife, but I feel like I'm going to have to come out here with some slug pellets. And this is Weigela. This is a Weigela here. This is the Bristol snowflake Weigela. It's just opening up. If I can just get over here and show you what these blooms look like. That's what the blooms look like. Yeah. So that is a Bristol snowflake Weigela. I've got my Tara Persifolia, Tara oak leaf hydrangea, potato vine going back there. And then this is another Weigela. This is it's obviously a variegated form, and it's a very common one. The name is escaping me right now, but I'm sure you'll be able to recognize this one, this variegated Weigela here. And then we have the classic Annabelle hydrangeas. They've absolutely flopped, but I think I'll get them a cage next year, so that should help keeping their blooms up. But I mean, I keep saying it's absolutely no wonder that they flop. Look at the size of these blooms. Isn't that crazy? And that's not even the biggest one. The biggest one that I've seen on this plant is over there. That's one flower head, guys. Ridiculous. Now, I've had some issues with these roses, and I've come out here this morning and I see the culprits are these little critters here. Can you see that? Now, I've taken pictures of them, so I'm going to go in and do some research as to what exactly they are. But I don't know if you remember my last video. I was saying that something's eaten the leaves. And that's obviously what the culprit is. But the problem is the plant's not looking, it's not looking very healthy. So I can't leave it. They're obviously doing a lot of damage. You see them? And I don't want them to get onto the other roses, which is so strange because they are not on the other roses. And there's a rose like right next to it. So I don't know why it likes this one so much, but you know. In the back there are some purple potatoes growing in a container. I think I will have to harvest them pretty soon, in the next week or so. And this is the clotted cream jasmine, which I bought the trellis for it, but that trellis is clearly not big enough. She needs something bigger to climb. Yeah. This huge thing here, this massive rose, is the Donahue rose from David Austin. Um, it's not a spectacular rose, but it's a good rose, in my humble opinion. It seems quite healthy. It gives lots and lots of huge sprays of flowers at a time. And, the fragrance is nice, but it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. It's a lovely rose though, and I like the apricot-y color that it comes out in. This is the country parsons. Now the blooms on this are very small in this. This is like its third flush, and I'm thinking perhaps I haven't pruned it hard enough. Maybe it needed some more food, but it's in its first year, so I'm just watching. I'm observing and seeing what these roses are going to need as we move forward. I love the fragrance of this rose, even though the thorns are crazy. But it's a nice rose. And the first flush, the blooms were absolutely magnificent. So I know that there's obviously some type of issue with the feeding or the watering or the pruning. So we will address that next year so we can continue to get those big blooms. So moving towards the container garden by the front door, I have this new potted rose, which I'm not sure exactly where it's going to go. It's going to stay in the front yard because, like I've expressed to you guys before, I want that this front garden to be, whites, creams, and very calming. So this champagne moment is going to go in the front garden, but look at how many blooms it has happening, even in that tiny little pot. Now in this basket here, we've got some scabiosa, and that's the Peter Cottontail yarrow, or achillea, depending on where you're from. Planted with the scabiosa, which I can't remember what the variety is, but look at these blooms. And the Laguna rose is doing really well. It's a climbing rose, and I've put it in a pot because I want something climbing up these trellises by the front door. So although climbing roses are not necessarily ideal for pots, we do what we have to, we do what we can, we experiment, we see if we can push the limits of things, and that's exactly what's happening here. I want to see how successful I can be in growing a climbing rose in a pot, even though it's not that massive. It's not a huge pot, but so far so good. It's probably going to have to be potted up in the next year, possibly two if I can push it. This basket, looking gorgeous. The blooms have slowed down a little bit, but the foliage still looks nice. I've got my Dicandra falls in there, which I absolutely love. Absolutely love it. I think I'll be planting more of that. The Leonardo da Vinci rose. I love this one. And it does not disappoint. Even the old roses still look really great. This thing, this portulaca, is just, well, look at it. Isn't that beautiful? Absolutely gorgeous. I think it's stunning. It's supposed to be an annual here in the UK or here in my zone 8A London garden, but I'm definitely going to try and overwinter it and see how we get, because I absolutely love it. If it doesn't come through the winter, I'm going to have to buy another one next year, which I'm trying not to do. I'm planning to not purchase any plants next year and just work through the garden with what I already have by doing some propagating of the plants that are already in my yard, which there are many, so I shouldn't really have a problem with that. Oh, I'm so disappointed with these strawberry vanilla hydrangeas. It's obviously something that I've done wrong. I think planting the petunias in here was an absolute mistake, because I've cut these petunias back several times, like severely cut them back, all the blooms, everything, and they've grown back to this in like a month's time. So clearly they are taking the water, they're taking the nutrients from the hydrangeas. That's what I'm thinking, because ideally I do want these hydrangeas to remain here by the door. So I think next year I won't have anything else planted in the pots with them. We'll just leave them to it and see what happens, because they're not turning pink whatsoever. They're just going straight from white to brown. Okay, so this is, oh my goodness, how much do I love this gardenia. I'm telling you, since we cracked it, and I don't want to say that with too much certainty, but it seems like we've got a little rhythm going, and she's just been giving us continuous blooms. I've deadheaded it this morning. But you cannot walk past this thing. You absolutely cannot walk past this thing without getting a good whiff of that gorgeous gardenia fragrance. It's beautiful, absolutely lovely. So that's my Daphne Odora. She's still alive, people, still alive. That's all I could say about that right now. And this lovely shady container is just doing its thing. You know, it's just doing its thing. It has some heuchera. I don't even know if you can see that back there, but this was a tiny little cutting of a topaz jazz heuchera. So I've put it in this pot for it to develop itself. I'll probably put it into the ground next year. Maybe not, because it does look particularly lovely when planted with other perennials. And this is a Sarcococca confusa. So I'm using them just as foliage plants at the moment, because I bought them quite small. They will get much bigger than that, but for the time being, don't they make just a lovely backdrop for these begonias, which are spectacular. Let's have a look at some of these flowers on the begonia. Just lovely. And we'll finish up with this lovely thing. This is the Euphoria Pink Variegated Hydrangea. The leaves are gorgeous. As you can see, even without any blooms on, there's still so much interest, as the leaves have that slight pink tinge around them. Absolutely beautiful. All right, guys, well, thank you so much for joining me, and we will come back soon with another lovely video. Perhaps not in the garden. Maybe we'll have a sit-down talk next time, so we can really get into the inspiration for this channel and the reason that I started gardening. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and you will join me again for the next one. Bye bye.